Hey Earth Science, I got a couple questions about the interactive topographic map of the ocean floor. If you go to the links section, here's everything that I've shared with you over the past however long we've been doing this. And originally it had been dated for the 7th, but since it carried over into this week, I redated it for the 14th. Hopefully it wasn't what made it hard to find, but if we click on that, then we end up with this. Okay, so this map should function just the same as Google Maps or Google Earth, where you can click or tap and drag, and it should rotate the thing. Now let me get to something that everyone should recognize. Okay, so we're looking at the Western Hemisphere right here. You recognize the west coast of the United States, now Mexico, Central America, and South America. You recognize that at least? That should be it's a pretty well-defined boundary. So the goal is that you'd be able to compare this this topography to what you would recognize on a typical map. So let's just look at the west coast here. Now, just in case things aren't that easy to see, I'm going to go over here to the height scale. And I'm going to make everything just a little taller. So the Earth is bumpier now. So if I were to zoom in, I'm going to do that by scrolling. I would expect if you're on a phone screen, you should be able to like do the the 2-finger pinch and zoom thing. Anyway, we're looking at the west coast of the United States. Do you recognize the Baja Peninsula right there? I mean, that's about as clear and well defined as it could get, right? Like here's the Rocky Mountains, So if we're gonna compare how clean the west coast of the United States is to the east coast, so this appears to be the Caribbean, which means that Florida should be here, but like look at this big blob of a Florida. That's there's no definition, there's no shape. Where is it? Well, that's actually what you're supposed to be noticing. That the west coast, the Pacific coast, is very well defined. There's a sharp edge, and also it looks like it's really not so easy to see, but there's a trench here. On the east coast, however, there's no sharp edge, there's no trench. I mean, there is an edge, but compared to the compared to the Pacific coast, it's a lot tamer. And you can kind of recognize the eastern seaboard, but the shape is all off. Recognize the Appalachian Mountains here? Maybe what would help is if side by side with this, you had Google Maps with a satellite view. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, I need to zoom out some more. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, so we got this map versus this map. Let's put this on satellite. Got it. So clouds. That's all right. So between this view and this view, you should be able to recognize similar features. So here's that Baja Peninsula. There's that Baja Peninsula. It's as clearly defined as you can get. Now, looking at the East Coast, though, we got blobby Florida here. You can actually see it on this map. This is that blob. Florida just happens to be the highest point on that blob. And if you're having trouble with that map, you can kind of see it, even just in this, how far out the continental shelf comes on the East Coast, on the Atlantic coast, versus on the Pacific coast. Okay, well, if the issue is that you can't access this at all, I know that was happening last week. If you try to click on it and it won't load, obviously that's a different issue. If it's like an interface issue, like it doesn't work on your phone the way that it's working on my computer right now, that's another issue. If it's just a matter of this looks weird and unfamiliar, okay, be patient with it. I would recommend pull up this right next to it to kind of guide you through it. But if the problem is it won't load, or it's glitchy, or something a bit more, something that can't be solved with a little bit of patience, then just let me know. If I got an email from your parents saying, dude, this isn't working, then I'll respect that. Anyway, yeah, good luck with that. Sorry I didn't get to your emails yesterday. Yeah, there you go.